Psychic Sleuth, and I'm here today. I'm going to be doing a video on Jennifer Dulos. The first reading we did was July 10th, and then I just did one a little bit ago. So I want to remind you guys I can get past, present, and future in my readings, and they do interconnect. So not all of this reading will make sense for her. I'm hoping most of it does. She did a pretty good job keeping my on the first one at least. It was very, very focused. So I believe that the carpenter that came way back in Molly's may belong here. She may also mention places connected for her. So I just need to remind you guys that, since everybody thinks, oh, my readings are so off. Well, you guys aren't listening to how I work, okay? I'm not going to be right all the time. I'm not God. But in every case, I will have things that are right. And I do need to say that like I said, my readings do interconnect. So not everything in one reading is going to fit. I was shown a long time ago when I did Delphi, and before I even realized, that I thought at that time I was only picking up just Delphi, but I wasn't. I was picking up multiple cases. I did the same thing in Molly, past, present, and future. I didn't realize that at the time, but back then they showed me, the lines, or, how like the red string that they used to use back in the day, where cops would connect cases. I felt like that was them telling me that my cases were going to interconnect, meaning that there will be similarities in the cases that I work, and they will come in the readings. For instance, like all the wife killers, their readings will interconnect somehow, or there'll be something similar about the readings, and that's why they connect. Making sense? So hope you understand that. Hope you are taking the time to listen and actually understand and take every clue and see what I'm trying to say, because, I mean, this is puzzle pieces. It's just puzzle pieces. You've got to slide them together. Okay, so now on to the reading. So it's like it's about time. She's been waiting. She's pacing back and forth, biting her nails a little bit. Never in a million years would she have thought he would, but things haven't been right for a while. She could see the change and the cheating, the drinking, the binging, changed his personality, heard the word hostage, it's how she felt, but she has more money, and she said she was leaving him with nothing. She isn't happy after all the work she put into making him a better man. It didn't work. She has a lot on her mind. She says they had built a business together, a life, and now he just does this. Hear the word brutal, hear screaming. She see her throwing a glass and hitting him, but it misses and shatters. She calls him an asshole. He says, you're a bitch. Don't know if it's ongoing or just that night, and I do need to say this right now because sometimes I forget. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. That's just what I have to say. That's how it goes. This may get a little bit brutal, so if you can't handle it, then I try to be gentle, okay? Let's just put it like that. But I am speaking the way that she explained it and what she said. Okay, so anyways, I did not know if it happened, it was ongoing, or if it was just that night. She said they started being awful to each other. They started to hate one another, and she knew it. She was coming, it was coming, and she just didn't know when. She had a gun, kept it hidden. I hear word escalated. I see a hallway, and her being dragged by her legs. She's wearing, I don't know if it's a nightgown, could be symbolic, and she's running for her room or something. He says, you fucking bitch, come here. Grabs her ankles and pulls her across the floor. I wonder if they had a hallway to a bedroom and then stairs, because I keep seeing carpeted hallway and stairs. Trying to see, because she keeps blacking out. Remember, there can be a lot of symbols. Spirit does use a lot of symbols, so we need to remember that. So trying to see, because she keeps blacking out. I feel like he beat her. I feel like blows to my head, and then I get a reference to when you grab a kitchen knife and you hear a out of the holder, and it makes a sharp noise, like shh. I can't even make it with my mouth, but there's a reference to the kitchen and then a reference to the garage, and I know she's stated that she's showing me, but I think I was thinking what she's showing is that she got up and he started stabbing her in the kitchen, but she was fighting and she ran to the garage, and I feel like this is very personal. There's a mention of a gun, but I'm not sure if it was used. I hear the words hatchet. that was picked up in the garage, because I get where like the door leads from the kitchen to the garage, and then that's where the tools and stuff are, and she was running for the car, and that's when he killed her. I also get hands around my throat and strangled, so it's very brutal, gruesome death. She says I get a phone call, or um, he got a phone call or something, and it was his girlfriend, and he had stated what he had done. Um, Said that he needs help cleaning and disposing of her body, and if she didn't, uh, she would end up like Jennifer, and she needed to keep her mouth shut or end up like Jennifer. And I get a reference to plastic that was in the garage, a thick plastic. He's a carpenter, so that came up in Caitlin's as well back in Molly's. Um, I don't I don't see her cut up or in trash bags. There is here was enough blood to clean up. He wasn't going to haul her into the bathroom and make a bigger mess. He wrapped her up in like a thick plastic, put her in the trunk, or at the truck, sorry. Then I get that he's the girlfriend trash bags. Here, sponges in a bucket, bleach, told her to start cleaning. They started putting bloody items in the bag. His clothes was in there too. Some of hers, something of hers. Actually, I'm in the back because I'm in the back of his truck. I kept saying trunk, but I know it was a truck. At the back of it, he says, those long duffel bags. Um, I don't know. I got a reference to those, and I get like back of the truck. I hear loud. I'm wondering if there's one of those big ass toolbox back there, the metal ones in the back of the bed, the truck, because I got a reference to that. He wanted to make her easy to unload once they got finished doing what they were doing, but hidden in case they got pulled over, because he is in an area, he has an area in mind, and I know it's been discussed, but I had a draw to Farmington back in Mackenzie, just the name, and I'm noticing that that's starting to be part of my thing, as I will get drawn to a name, and it will make sense in a case. I just never know why. So I was drawn to that name back in Mackenzie, but I didn't know. We hadn't picked up the case yet, but I was getting like farmland literally in the distance, and literally, and then in the distance mountains, and a reference to like a creek or a river. Reference to him grabbing a shovel, and they put trash bags in the back to dispose of on the way. I hear the truck engine's loud, and we discussed it's black. I hear dinging like when a door is opening and the keys are in the ignition. I think she's having trouble with the area because 15 and 7 was mentioned, but she repeats it to let me know that bit fits here somewhere, because it's been coming in for months now. We discussed her car being found. We did discuss her car being found, me and my group. She points to me and says Lapham. Um, Her car was moved later. I think I'm not sure, or to make it look like she ran off. He was concocting a plan as they drove in his head. There's reference to I-95. I heard struggling a bit, but there was reference to Seagulls, which usually is by the beach area. But I think that's just a reference to kind of where she lives and where he was driving by. But then she wants to take me up away from the ocean, and I keep going up, and I hear wilderness, and then there's a creek. I don't know, but there's a reference to mountains. Now mountain can just be in a name, but they're in the distance, and it could be symbolic, like I said. I think she's closer to Farmington, and that's my draw. She says closer to work, but she takes me out in the middle of nowhere. I hear national forest. I don't know if there's a place like that or called that. I know we have them all over here. She says the state of Connecticut. She stated that she was still in the state. I'm getting pain in my head. It was like a blow, and I don't know if she also got shot, because it was like bam to my head, and like when I feel like I get shot, like in certain cases in the head. He's full of anger and rage. Came to a boiling point. When I go into Farmington, I want to like go past it about 20 minutes, give or take, and then I want to make a right. Definitely, I feel like a right side of the road. I hear the word then off. I see, I don't know, like weeds sticking out of the ground, like a wilderness, but that could be symbolic because I hear great outdoors, reference to running water, rocks, and trees. But I feel like there's a farm on the way there, and I feel like I'm going up. I see chicken clucking and goats neighing, and it's close. It's close by, but it feels like farm with animals, and like the opposite side of the road. And she says impossible to find her because she's in BFE, but then later she says it's easy. So Then I get a reference to a stream or a creek or, running water. She has quite the personality, very strong woman, but can be a bitch when she wants to be. And um, when he made when he made her, um, but when he made her be, sorry, but she didn't deserve this. She says yes, spirits cuss and rolls her eyes. There was a reference to dandelions. The terrain is dark, rocky and dirt, soft and hard, um, rep, soft and hard dirt. A reference to hunting nearby, or he knows the area from hunting. Guess he has driven by it and says, hey, that's where I'll put her. I feel like the cops have no clue whatsoever. They won't find her where they're looking. They're way off, have no clue. Reference to green, then reference to a blanket, almost if he had it. I don't know if it's a symbolic in the name or something. I hear the word hell. Please remind you of it. Maybe not, but I don't know. It could be in a name, like I said, or the name of something. She isn't in hell, but the place reminds you of it, or there might be another reason. I keep hearing the phrase "when hell freezes over." I hear Jeep, but that was weird because an Amber Alert went off when I was doing this reading, and it was a Jeep, but maybe it was another case, but I did hear it. She's pointing to this spot. I know Jeep Wrangler had come in before, and that was a different case, so I'm curious if that was ever resolved. Anyways, near a creek or running water, river. It's hard to tell sometimes because the creeks are bigger, rivers are smaller. Uh, so definitely a water source, and a specific big tree and bigger rocks. And there's a dirt trail, and I could see truck tires, and it goes back to the pool with lights because that's, I feel like, where her car was, um, near like a pool, and it's dusty. Then we go back to where she's at, right? And then it's dusty, and I could see flying with the rocks under the tires. The trail kind of stops at the end of the where this water is, and she's right there in the spot. And getting like 5 to 10 minutes off the road, they take her out. He digs. The girlfriend just stands there watching. He digs. I get a reference to 3 feet, a roundabout. Wipes sweat from his head from his wipes his head from sweat. Sorry. Getting dark. I can see they're using their lights, nightish. It felt like daytime before, and then I see dust in the front of their lights, and they put her in. I can't tell if it's a bag or a blanket she's in, and then they put her and they start throwing dirt on top of her. Then stomp it down, brush or whatever on top of her, and I get a letter B, a letter R, and a letter C, and then I get they just leave, wiped his hands of her. They stop at a car wash. I hear the hose, him washing out the back. Looks like the truck or a car wash. Hear the word Barry or Berry, Berry or Barry. This was, I think, done before that hurricane, so I'm not sure. That's been coming in for a few months now. Hear the word bush. She shows me sticks, like random sticks. Reference to 5. Hear June sometime. There might be something about her case because I know something about her case was going on last month. She throws out a 7 at me for some reason. Remember that numbers can be, roadways, anything, months, days. Hear the word long. She says she was at Heaven's Gate. It's cold. So much gold. Sorry, I cannot talk today. I do apologize. At Heaven's Gate, it was gold. There was so much light and white around her. And she says he needs to go down. He isn't getting any money. She has come to terms with what happened to her, but she knows this is part of her contract. It's a big part for him to pay for his sins. She's okay. She's in love. She's at peace. For those left behind, for justice, her story needs to be told. She tried to live with love in her heart and do right things. Sadly, part of her lessons are not always fun, but that's what they are, and he needs to be behind bars. I think eventually that will happen, as I was kind of flashed that right now. So his path was evil. I thought I'd never see the day, but it came, and I was naive, and I didn't get to leave, and it was in the plan somehow. I don't know if he spied on her or see a video camera and a tiny mic. Maybe another reason. He knew the moves she was making. He didn't like it because he loved me, but he was greedy. He grew tired of her and wanted another broad. I need my family and friends to know I love them and that I'm okay. And she shows me white doves. She's beautiful and has white around her. She says, "Thank you for listening." Shows me a helicopter flying over because they can't see her. I don't think from where she is. I don't know unless just helicopters may fly over that area. I hear a lone highway, very desolate is what it feels like because it's out there alone. Sky, Rainbow, and Alcott I think fit here. The second reading was done today, 7/17. As stated, it may not all fit. Her or my readings do interconnect. I wasn't as focused this time, so I asked. She wasn't as strong this time as she was last time. So I asked her. I needed to know where she was. She shows me like if I'm on above a map and I'm flying over and I see trees and trees, but at the same time, then you go down to the trees and there's grass. I get the month of August for some reason. Could be a name. I hear, I don't know why, glasses clinging together. I'm hearing the word hot rod. I don't know why, and I'm shown a teacup. And I hear pigs, and I hear roosters. And I hear the word farm and the word alley. And I'm going up once again on this paved road, and you turn right on a dirt path, and then it veers to the right, and it goes down the dirt again, and I can see the dust fly. And it's like it leads to either a creek or a river. Hard to tell, but water. But there's trees, dirt, pebbles, bushes. She shoots a bee at me, and I hear the word cactus. No clue why, but that kind of reminds me of the desert, and it reminds me of Susan, the case we're going to work on. So hear the words trying times, hear words bucket. I don't know if it was symbolic for things being cleaned up, or if it's in a name somewhere. Uh, I'm not as connected to her this time, but I get a reference to the word tidal wave. Now, that's coming out of private reading, so I'm not really sure where it fits. Probably doesn't fit her, but it's going to fit somewhere. And I heard the word reservoir, and I get a reference to waterfall, and I'm shown the color green, and I hear green forest, and then I get a reference to fire. She makes me feel like I was in hell again. I have no idea why she kept showing me that. Um, not that she is, but somehow in a description in some way. She says the words trees and branch, and then I get a reference to a T, and I see if I'm standing at the road and I'm looking up facing the mountains. I hear the word spring, and I get a reference to hunting, hiking, fishing in the area, and I'm shown a man in fatigues with guns and rifles, and she shows me a deer and it's standing in the water. And I know we know this about him, but I get a reference to hammering nails, and it shows me when the nails hammer into the wood. And I'm reminded back in Molly's when I got a reference to a carpenter and he made a coffin. So I don't know if it's symbolic or not. She's taking me back to a part of the reading like woodwork. It may be symbolic, like he put a nail in her coffin, so to speak, and that he's a carpenter slash builder. Same thing to me. But you know how it sounds when the nails echo, and that's what I get. And then I get a reference to riding horseback, I think because I can hear hooves and the horses. I hear their tails go back and forth. So maybe horse riding in the area. I hear the word cattail, so I don't know if there's a marshy type area or it's in a name or something. Also remember, can interconnect somewhere. I get a reference to Florida, so I'm not really sure, but I hear the word Florida, and then I see palm trees, so unless it's symbolic or there's a link with him or her somehow, it may fit somewhere else. So I hear the word houses, and I'm shown blue sky with clouds. Like if you lay on the ground and you look up, I hear the word Bert. I don't know why. That was really weird. I got a reference to Muppets, Bert and Ernie, and then symbolic of the, I think it was symbolic of the name Bert. And then I got Bert like Burt Reynolds. So I don't know why I kept getting that. And then I had pain in my left shoulder, and I got a reference to her putting makeup on and getting ready, going out. She's wearing a dress. She looks really nice. Reminds me of a gala or a ball or something. I see paintings all over. Not really sure how it fits. So I hear the word search and rescue. And it's weird because I see the area so clearly. It's kind of beautiful, but I don't know why she keeps mentioning hell. Maybe it's in a word. I don't know. It was very strong and all that, unless it's the name somewhere, because I kept hearing Talcott, and I get close by. You're close by, and I'm hearing and I'm shown a house, and then I'm shown like I hear familiar, and I hear the words he knows it well. I hear those ATVs, reminds me of Caitlin's reading, which has not been made public yet, but is in the group. Loud motors, I hear the word birch, so I don't know if it's street name or there are birch trees. I hear the word starlit. She says the words big drama, and she takes me back to this spot, very secluded. I don't know if it's by that house we were looking at, but I feel it's like very out of the way, like 5 to 10 minutes off the main road. I get that you go on a straight road. You can go straight if you want to, but it will curve a little bit, and then it's got different pathways. But the number 5 is shot at me again, boom, fast. And then the number 20 was shot at me. And she's like throwing numbers at me, and they would start off small and get really big, so they must be important. Also number 14, and I get the number 12 again. I kept getting a B, but I couldn't make it out. Like, B feels important, but I couldn't quite make out what was being said. And I hear how, like, when you have a truck and it goes on bumps and rocks and road, like on the road, and I get a reference to, like, the road having potholes and rocks, and it's really bumpy, like when you go up and down on it, and then dust flying, and you can veer off to the right. This feels across from a farm with animals, like directly across the street where you take the turn off as a farm, or I get a reference to a farm with animals, unless that's just trying to show me the area. But it's big, and like, and there's fruit there too. And then across, you take this road and to the right, and that's like if you're going up, like on the main road, and you would be facing some sort of mountains or something with mountains in the name, and then you would make a right. And then I have a map, I'll show you, but she keeps talking about how dusty it is, and it's like a backwards Y in the way that it splits off, and you would take the split off, the first split off. And she says it's so easy to find. I keep telling her, no, it's not. I got a reference to the word hollow, and she says, yes, across from the farm. She says State Park, and she says this farm is an old man logo with a pipe, and the man has white hair and overalls, and she says they have farmer markets there. She says also wine, and there were grapes and something like a winery or something. And she showed me a glass of wine. I got the name. Now, my names can be similar or sound like Berkshire or something like that. I can smell water and I can hear it, and there's sand, kind of like rocks and shells in it, and then pebbles in it, little pebbles, and then the water rises, so she may go under. I'm not sure, because I was seeing her underwater weirdly, but not that she's in water, like not that he put her in water, because obviously we saw her buried in the first reading, but that underwater, like if it gets flooded and the water rises, she may be buried, and then like that spot goes underwater. And then I was told after we did the reading on this that it was raining there right now, so that might be why. I kept hearing crows can be symbolic or something in the name. I was sitting here like, show me like where you are, and then I saw like tubing, and I don't know if people tube down this river or whatever, but I was also shown like how you do it at a water park. That's just how I was shown because I'm familiar with it. And I hear the word Chiefs, and I got the word West. Now I will, I hope I'm describing this. I'm trying to talk slowly, but I'm trying to get through this before, it's a very long reading, and I'm trying to get through it before my time runs out. If you want to read it, it's in the group, because I only have so much room on my computer. So let me get my pictures for you. I'll try to show you the best that I can. So it's like super hot, and I want to get my air conditioning on. So, anyways, I don't know if you can see this. I also posted this in the group. So, it's backwards on here, but basically this is the main road up, and I think it's pavement. Off to here is a farm, and I get like animals and fruit and stuff, and then you would take a right, and you would go up, and then it would veer off to the right, and you would go down. And then I got mountains or something with mountains in the name in the background. And then, because I was seeing this map run out really clearly. And then, you know, there's trees and bushes, and then there's pebbles, and there's like water here. I don't know if it's a creek or a river, but because it depends. You know, sometimes creeks are bigger, sometimes rivers are smaller. And then it's like right here, she's like around. And the ground is soft right here, because when I saw him digging, and I did get a reference to his shovel, and he threw it in the back of the truck. I remember from my vision, it, I saw him put the truck, put it back there, and then when he was digging, like the dirt was soft, so it's an area where the dirt's softer, and which would make sense if the water's rising. So, and then and he probably marked it put like stuff over it, so it's kind of weird. And then this is like kind of like, I suck at drawing unless I'm looking at something, so this is kind of like the logo I see. That's supposed to be a tractor, but don't laugh at me. He's got he's an old man with like a hat, like a farmer looking dude, and a pipe, and that's how I saw him anyways. Not everything is going to be exactly as I saw it. That's just how it works, but very similar. So if you guys can think of an area, I think we're actually looking at something. I thought we had an area before. Like I said, I've been trying to use my pendulum on the map I'll get drawn a certain way, and then I'll use a pendulum, and it won't stop. So it stopped in an area. We did turn it in, but now that we did another reading, we looked back over this. We're thinking it might be somewhere different, somewhere more secluded, but known by him. And I'm thinking he's very familiar with it, riding, because the ATVs came up, Hot Rod came up. So it's an area where they do that kind of stuff at. So if you guys can think of any place that this reminds you of, if you're from Connecticut, or you can help us out, you join the group, and then we can, we can discuss it and try to, if we get enough people, we find this good spot, maybe we can get the tip line. I don't know, they don't really listen to the tip line, but we can try. So I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, supporting me as always. If you have any questions about how my gifts work before you start shaming, just go ahead and shoot me a message, and I'll try to explain it to you even more. I try to explain it at the beginning of every reading in case you don't watch the rest of them, but if you watch Mackenzie, Lizzie, Kenny, they're all very accurate. I've never had a complaint with any of my readings privately. So anyways, I hope you guys have a good one. I will see you next time. I'm trying to get more videos out. I have other cases that I've worked on that I have, like Caitlin, that I have not done a video for yet. This was kind of a rushed thing. We needed to get it out. So anyways, I will put the links below where you can reach out if you have a case or something else. Thank you very much.